Okay guys, welcome back to Luke 6. This time, 12 through 19. Go ahead and read 6, 12 through 19, and then we're going to unpack this thing for you. Okay, pause and I'll see you in a second. Okay, so in chapter 6, verse 12, we see that Jesus once again is out there praying. This time it says Jesus is praying all night to God. Why? Because he's got this huge task ahead of him of choosing these 12 disciples. So again, we see Jesus modeling this idea of, number 1, alone with God, number 2, together with others. So guys, real quick, semi-sermon, got to be doing both. You got to be serious about your time alone with God, like Jesus has been all through Luke so far. But also, that time alone with God prepares you, it fills you, so that you can go be with others. Not so you can sit on the couch and be alone and never come to church and never be in a group and never talk to anybody. And no, because you got to be filled so that you can be poured out. Okay? Alright, so here we go. He's picking his 12 disciples. They're going to be called apostles. Luke's the only gospel that uses that word, apostles. And so you always see the apostles in groups of 3, groups of 4, and always kind of in the same order. Peter is always listed first in every listing of the apostles. Here he's called Simon, whom we named Peter. His brother Andrew. We got James, John, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, which is probably the same guy as Levi from earlier in the book. Thomas, James, son of Alphaeus, Simon, a zealot, and Judas, the son of James, and Judas Iscariot, who became a traitor. We'll talk more about him in a second. It's a hodgepodge group of guys, and again, remember what we said before. You don't ask to be a disciple, you are picked to be a disciple. Jesus is the top rabbi running around. Everybody would love to be his disciple, so when he invites you into this, as a young Jewish guy, as a young adult Jew, you're like, yeah, duh, I want to be a disciple of this guy. These are guys that probably flunked out of Jew school, and, so now they're off doing other things. They're collecting taxes, or they're fishing, or the zealot guy is just plotting the overthrow of the Roman government, or whatever you do in your free time. And now Jesus is inviting them into something bigger, way bigger than themselves. Verse 17, we see Jesus creating this new community. Okay, so as you're reading 17 through 19, you're thinking back to Moses on Mount Sinai. So Jesus is on the mountain, Moses is on the mountain. Moses comes down, Jesus comes down. Moses in front of 12 tribes, Jesus in front of 12 disciples. Moses creating a new nation, Israel, that's about to go back to their promised land. Jesus creating this new community, this new fellowship, this new animal, this new living, breathing thing, which eventually we're going to call it church. Okay? So obviously the apostles are going to go on to found the church. So 17, he went down with them, stood on a level place. Look at the great numbers of people from Judea and Jerusalem and Tyre and Sidon. So Jews, Judea and Jerusalem, Gentiles, Tyre and Sidon. Kind of sounds churchy, right? Jews and Gentiles coming together to form the church. 18, they've come to hear him. They've come to be healed. They're troubled by evil spirits. They're all trying to touch him. Why? Because power is coming out of him. He's starting this new thing, this new community. Power is coming out of him. That's our takeaway for today. Where do you get your power to do this thing that we call church, this thing that we call community, this thing that we call fellowship and just ministering to each other? The power comes from Jesus. Okay, so today, in today's context, we would say, Jesus died, he rose, he's up in heaven, and the Holy Spirit came, and the Holy Spirit is inside of you, inside of me, to give us the power to do this. To do what? Well, come back, next video. In the next couple of videos, Jesus is going to break out some of the hardest teaching of his that we have. It's called the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew. Here in Luke, sometimes they call it the Sermon on the Plain because it sounds a little bit more like he's in a level place. But either way, it's a lot of the same teachings. It's really tough. Come back to the next video. We're going to start seeing why we actually need this power. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to pull it off. Okay, I'll see you next time.